Hello, everyone. Welcome to Slow Thoughts in English. My name is Adam, and next to me is Rachel. Today, we are going to talk about a topic that many listeners may need right now: what to carry into 2026. We will look at life slowly, with honesty, and with practical thinking. Let's begin.
Adam, when I was younger, I used to believe that every new year was a miracle. I thought that when the calendar changed, my energy would change, my confidence would change, and my problems would quietly disappear. But that never happened. I entered each January as the same tired person from December, sometimes hopeful, often confused, mostly silent. And many listeners right now may recognize that feeling. You open your phone in the morning, you look at messages, and you already feel you are late in life. Not late for work, not late for school, late as a person. That is a heavy way to start a year.
And why did you feel silent, Rachel?
Because I didn't have a clear goal. And more importantly, I didn't even understand what a clear goal meant. So I reacted to life instead of planning it. I accepted every invitation. I replied to every message. I tried to be everywhere at once. Those actions felt responsible, but the result was simple: overload. Overload drains the desire to speak, and it also drains the desire to try. That is where real tiredness begins.
So for 2026, you would say that silence is a signal.
Exactly. Silence is my body saying, I need fewer inputs. But back then, I didn't respond to the signal. I fought it. I thought, if I feel like not talking, something must be wrong with me. And that belief created anxiety before any real problem even arrived. Now, when I look at 2026, I see it differently. I don't want to carry impossible resolutions. I want to carry practical goals.
Let me talk directly to the person listening. If you don't have a clear goal for 2026, start with something small. Most people imagine big success, but real life is built on small, steady steps. First goal to carry? A simple routine. Wake up at the same time, drink enough water, finish one small task early in the day. These are goals anyone can do, and they create a feeling of progress even for someone who feels lost. That is a very kind way to begin.
Yes, and kindness must be realistic. Another story. I had a colleague named Min. He was very quiet every December. He didn't feel like joining year-end parties. He didn't feel like talking in meetings. People assumed he was unhappy. But the cause was simple. He was overloaded by expectations. So he made New Year's resolutions built on fear. I will talk more. I will be more social. But he never planned how to reduce overload. By March, he was already burnt out. That's why goals without structure fail. The problem is not talking. The problem is capacity. So now, let me present solutions that truly fit most people in 2026. First solution: build a monthly saving habit. Not for investment, just for safety. A fixed amount, no matter how small. Saving creates calm. Calm creates clarity. Second solution: reduce digital stress. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Limit social media comparison. Third solution: finish open loops before opening new ones. Remove pressure. Add boundaries. Talk honestly when you are tired. These are realistic tools that anyone can use. They don't require talent, they require discipline. And discipline is what makes traditional workers strong.
So what you carry into 2026 is not more tools, but better habits.
Yes. And for the person who still doesn't feel motivated, I suggest a final idea. Don't promise to become someone new. Promise to take care of the person you already are. Small goals, clear plans, honest boundaries. That is enough to move forward.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of our conversation. In the next part, Rachel and I will talk about the common struggles of starting a new year and how to plan them gently. See you in the next episode. Part 2. Starting the new year without clear goals. Hello everyone, welcome back to Slow Thoughts in English. This is part 2 of our conversation today. In the previous part, Rachel shared her feelings about ending a year without a clear goal. Now we continue from that idea. Today, Rachel will speak as the main storyteller, and I will help guide the conversation. Let's begin.
Adam, I want to start this part by talking about something very simple. Not knowing your goal feels scary. It feels like standing in the middle of a large station without a ticket in your hand. Everyone around you seems to be moving, talking, planning, going somewhere, and you are just watching. That was exactly how I felt in many Januaries. I remember one particular morning a few years ago when the year 2025 was ending and 2026 was getting closer. I opened YouTube, not to learn anything technical, but just to hear human voices. I hoped someone would say, "It's okay to be unsure." But instead, most videos were loud. They were full of strong, confident speakers telling me to hustle, to build businesses, to invest, to change myself completely. Those messages made me feel even smaller. So I closed them and I stayed quiet.
Many listeners probably open YouTube the same way. They search for motivation, but they only find more pressure.
Exactly. And that pressure creates predictable effects. Let me explain it clearly, step by step, so the listener can follow. Cause: you don't have a direction. Effect: you feel anxious about the future. Behavior most people choose: avoidance. They avoid making plans. They avoid difficult conversations. They avoid honest self-reflection. And avoidance feels comfortable at first. But the final effect is always the same. The year begins, and you already feel defeated. Defeated by nothing, just by the idea of being behind.
So what changed for you, Rachel? How did you stop feeling defeated?
I changed my responses. Not my personality, my responses. I decided to live in a more traditional, disciplined way. I learned that a person without a goal still needs a system. A system is like a map you can hold until a bigger map appears. Let me tell another story. I once worked with a young designer named Hua. She was very talented, but she told me, "Next year, I want to succeed, but I don't know how." Her cause was simple: too many dreams, no clear structure. The effect was emotional confusion. So she behaved like most young people. She jumped between ideas. One week she planned to open an online shop. Another week she planned to learn 3 new languages. Then she promised herself to travel the world. All good dreams. But none of them were realistic targets. By April, she was tired of all of them. That story helped me understand something important. Goals must be practical, honest, and sized for ordinary life.
That is why this channel sounds different from many others. It is slower, more thoughtful, and more empathetic.
Yes, and empathy is not just emotional comfort. It is also a practical solution. Now I speak directly to the person listening. If you are starting 2026 and you feel you have no goal, here is what you do first. Don't look outward too much. Look inward calmly. Ask simple questions instead of big ones. Questions like, what kind of life do I want next month? What can I finish this week that will make me feel lighter? What habit would help me feel safer even if I never become rich or famous? These are not glamorous questions, but they are kind questions, and kind questions lead to kind answers. That is already better preparation for 2026 than most big resolutions.
So for someone without direction, the best response is to build calm control, not loud confidence.
Exactly, Adam. Control over time, control over spending, control over expectations. Those small controls create one big effect, a feeling that you can continue. And continuing is the most important ability for any new year. Not trending, not becoming viral, just living steadily. That is what I wish more people understood as 2026 approaches.
Thank you for listening to part 2. In the next part, Rachel will continue sharing how to set realistic goals for ordinary people and how to enter the new year with gentleness and honesty. See you in part 3. Part 3. Setting realistic goals for ordinary people. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Slow Thoughts in English. This is part 3 of our topic today. In part 2, Rachel talked about anxiety and confusion that appear when a new year approaches. Now we move to the heart of the conversation. How to build goals for 2026 for people who feel they have no clear direction. Rachel will continue as the main storyteller. Let's begin.
Adam, I want to start this part very gently. Many listeners are opening this video tonight after a long day. Some of them are students, some are young parents, some are adults who feel stuck. And most of them share one cause. They don't know what they should do next. That cause leads to a very obvious effect. They feel like life is happening to them, not through them. So, before talking about any goals, I want to tell a little story about myself. A few years ago, I was exactly in that position. I woke up every morning, went through the same routine, sat through the same days, and returned home with nothing changed inside me. I believed that one day a big purpose would suddenly find me, but it never did. The reason was simple. I waited for clarity instead of creating it. Waiting is passive. Planning is active. And only active people feel stable.
So the first idea is that goals are not found. They are built.
Yes, exactly. And built goals must follow a structure. Let me explain in a traditional way that anyone can understand. Cause, no direction. Effect, low motivation and anxiety. Common action, people do nothing, or they do too many random things. Correct response, build small anchors. Anchors are goals that hold you in place emotionally. I started doing that in 2024, and I want to share how. For 2026, I suggest that listeners set goals in 4 main areas: time, money, health, and relationships. These are the most traditional pillars of life. First, Time. Most people fail because they treat time loosely. They sleep at different hours. They work without a plan. They say yes to everything. So the goal for time should be very simple. Live by the clock, not by the phone. Cause, fixed schedule. Effect, steady days. Action, decide 1 waking hour and 1 sleeping hour. That is a goal anyone can reach. It doesn't require editing skills. It doesn't require English mastery. Just discipline. Second, money. This is where I changed the most. I used to think, if I don't invest, I cannot move upward. But for ordinary people, investment is not the first solution. The first solution is saving. So the goal for 2026 money is DCA for yourself before DCA for markets. Cause, a fixed weekly saving habit. Effect, you feel safer. Action, put aside a small amount every week. When money is organized, anxiety becomes organized too. That is very traditional wisdom.
You are making goals sound very reachable.
Because they should be. Third pillar, health. Many people listening right now feel tired all the time. Cause, too much sitting, too much thinking, too little movement. Effect, the body feels old even when the person is young. Common action, they blame age, they blame work, they blame their personality. Correct response for 2026. Move first, feel better later. Action steps. Walk 20 minutes a day. Drink enough water. Eat simple home-style meals more often. These are goals sized for ordinary life. They directly fix causes, so effects disappear naturally. And the last pillar for 2026, relationships. Many people without goals also feel lonely. They don't feel like talking because they fear being judged. Cause, uncertainty about themselves. Effect, distance from others. Common behavior, staying quiet, waiting for someone else to start. Correct response for 2026. Have 1 honest conversation each week. Not long conversations, just honest ones. Action steps. Call a friend. Talk to parents. Share feelings clearly instead of hiding them. That builds emotional anchors stronger than any professional skill.
So the chain reaction you describe is always cause, arrow, effect, arrow, behavior, arrow, solution.
Exactly, Adam. Let me organize this clearly for the listener. If you have no goal for 2026, don't try to copy influencers. Don't try to become impressive. Most people need to carry only this: a simple, disciplined life system. System for time, system for money, system for health, system for relationships. When those systems are in place, a bigger goal can grow later. Goals are like trees. They need soil and water first, not bright lights and loud music. And that is the spirit of slow thoughts. Adam, I want to finish part 3 with a message of empathy and motivation. To the person listening right now, you may feel that you are entering 2026 empty-handed. But you are not. You are carrying experience. You are carrying survival. You are carrying another chance. And chances don't ask you to be perfect. They only ask you to be present and disciplined enough to continue. Continue walking. Continue saving. Continue learning slowly. That is more than enough.
Thank you for listening to part 3 of the podcast. In part 4, Rachel and I will summarize everything and talk about how to enter 2026 gently, as we really are. See you in the next part. Part 4. Entering the new year with empathy and direction. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Slow Thoughts in English. This is part 4, the final part of our long conversation today. In the previous parts, Rachel spoke deeply about causes of tiredness, confusion, and the fear that appears when we don't have a clear goal. Now we finish everything. Rachel will continue as the main voice, and I will help close the story. Let's begin.
Thank you, Adam. If you are still listening, I already appreciate you. Listening for a long time is not easy in a loud world. Most people click on short videos. Most people want quick answers. But the people who stay here with us are different. They want to feel understood. And that is exactly the point. I want to speak calmly now to the ordinary person who is maybe lying in bed, or sitting on a bus, or cooking quietly in the kitchen, and letting this podcast play in the background. You may have opened this video because you felt lonely, or tired, or simply because you didn't have anyone patient enough to talk to about your life. That is a very human reason. And human reasons deserve human voices. So let me continue. When I look back at 2025, I see a version of myself who survived many small storms. Not big tragedies, just everyday difficulties. Some mornings felt too fast. Some evenings felt too empty. There were days when I didn't feel like talking at all. Days when I questioned my worth. Days when I wondered why simple things felt so hard. But as I grew older, I learned to interpret those signals instead of fearing them. I realized something very traditional. Life improves when we stop pretending to be strong and start being disciplined with what we already have. So, for 2026, I don't want to sell dreams to listeners. I want to sell clarity. Clarity is built, not downloaded. It comes from respecting limits, from understanding causes, not only complaining about effects. That is why I changed my planning style, and I want to offer the same path to the person listening.
Many people misunderstand what planning means. They think planning is only for ambitious businessmen, but it is for anyone who wants a stable heart.
Exactly. And now I want to move into the most important part for you, the listener. Realistic goals for 2026. Let's organize them clearly. If you don't have a clear direction, here is a simple roadmap that fits almost everyone. I will speak slowly so you can copy it into your mind. Goals for 2026 should follow 4 areas. First area, time. Cause of most anxiety, disorganized days. Effect, feeling unproductive even when you tried hard. Action you must take, respect the clock. So I suggest choose one fixed waking hour for the whole year, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., or whatever fits your family. It doesn't matter which hour, it matters that it is fixed. Don't plan to edit videos all night. Don't plan to study randomly. Plan to live steadily. A fixed schedule is a small, traditional goal that protects energy better than any modern productivity app. When you control time, you control life. That is simple cause and effect.
And many people listening probably need that the most.
Second area, money. I will be very clear here. Most people are not ready for risky investments. So the right response for 2026 is save first. Cause, no financial plan. Effect, fear about future. Common behavior, spending without thinking. Correct solution, put aside a small amount every week. That is your personal DCA. Not into coins, not into markets, into yourself. Even if you earn little, saving creates a feeling of dignity. Dignity removes anxiety. Anxiety removed, mind calmer. That is traditional adult wisdom. So, for 2026, don't promise to be rich. Promise to be in control of money. Third area, health. Cause, too much mental work, too little physical care. Effect, constant tiredness. Action most people take. Drinking more coffee, scrolling more phones, sleeping later. None of them fix the cause. Correct response for 2026 health is walk every day, drink water every day, sleep early every day. These are very ordinary but very powerful goals. You don't need a 20 million dong PC to be healthy. You only need discipline. Discipline traditional, effect real.
You are slowly rebuilding the listener instead of teaching them a profession. That fits the channel very well.
Fourth area, relationships. Cause, feeling lost inside. Effect, not wanting to talk. Behavior, waiting for others to start. Solution, don't wait. Call your parents more often in 2026. Meet a friend each week, even when you don't feel confident. Talk honestly instead of loudly. Honest communication is a very traditional goal, but it builds emotional security. Security built, heart calmer, year easier. Adam, I think many people believe that empathy is weak, but empathy is not weak. Empathy is what allows us to breathe. It is what allows someone without a goal to open YouTube and feel they are not alone in the world. For 2026, you don't need to become a star. You only need to become steady. Steady people outlast dramatic people. And steadiness creates real motivation.
So the true message for listeners is simple. Planning gently is traditional, and tradition protects mental health. Thank you everyone for staying with us through this long topic. This channel is not about quick success. It is about quiet improvement. Rachel and I hope that as 2025 ends and 2026 begins, you carry with you small habits, clear plans, and a kinder heart. See you in the next story on Slow Thoughts in English.
2026 is not waiting to test you. It is only waiting to meet you where you really are. Slowly, calmly, traditionally, and honestly.